How's it going, Rams? I'm Madeline Davis, and wait, what? Is this last year? Ella Fredrikson joins me on desk in 2023.
It's good to be back, Madeline, and welcome you all back to another edition of CTV Sports. We've finally gotten past the dreaded months of January and February, with spring on the horizon. As the month turns to March, I think you know what we'll be highlighting tonight.
CSU men's and women's hoops hit the casinos for the Mountain West tournament. Hear all of the updates you need from the ground in Las Vegas.
The Power 6 conference tournaments are also in action this week. Here are predictions for each one in Hot or Not.
And finally, well, that's pretty much it. College basketball takes the podium tonight, and honestly, we're here for it.
All of that coming up on CTV Sports, which starts right now.
Spring showers bring March flowers. Actually, that's not how the saying goes. And if you're a college basketball fan, even less so. Because March Madness is both exciting and depressing. And for the Rams, well, hopes for tourney runs aren't completely gone because automatic bids through winning your conference tournaments are on the table, including the Mountain West.
That's right, Madeline. And in fact, we have our very own team on the ground in Las Vegas covering just that. Mike Walsh and Leah Kakowski join us now after a busy Monday in the Sin City. And guys, first off, how did the women fare in their quarterfinal bout against Boise State last night?
Well, Ella, the Lady Rams didn't have their best game of the season, but Coach Ryan Williams said it best when he said this one was a grinder.
Yeah, Mike, and this game definitely felt like one, as it seemed like every time the Rams scored, the Broncos had an answer. And one of the biggest things about this game was Rams just not hitting their threes. They were 0 for 7 in the first quarter, and that kind of carried through the second half, but they were eventually able to pick it up.
Yeah. Also, we had some big shots in the second half from Megan Boyd and Kendall Kisner to get us that win.
Yep, absolutely.
But now let's go into the advanced stats of this one.
Like we mentioned previously, the Rams just could not find their groove beyond the arc. I mean, only 5 total on 21 attempts. That's embarrassing. Kinzer had 3 alone. Yikes. Luckily, the Rams showed out in the paint due to, of course, McKenna Hofschild leading the offense in every way possible to get the green and gold in a rhythm.
Overall, this one was a little too close for comfort, but the Rams did check their nerves and get the win. Now, back to you guys.
Wow, so a nail-biter for sure. Glad we were able to pull it out, though. So what's the matchup tonight? Is it Border War Part 3?
Yeah, Madeline, you would be correct. The Rams face the Cowgirls of Laramie tonight and hope to win the season series 2-1 after they both took dubs in the regular season.
Yeah, as you can tell, both teams know how to win on their home court, but now we're in a neutral area, so we'll see how it goes.
As you can see, home court advantage really took into play for both of these squads. The first time these two competed was in Moby Arena, and it was a close one. The Rams barely coming out on top 66-63. But the Cowgirls had an answer the second time around in Laramie. Colorado State just wasn't able to stop Allison Ferdig as she had an 8-0 run all by herself in the fourth, defeating CSU 76-60. Dang. Alright, but enough about the past. This game features 2 of the best players in the Mountain West.
Agreed, Leah, and to keep it short and simple, these 2 players dominate the sport and have been doing so all year long, as both of them nearly average a double-double. Hofschild clearly has the advantage in scoring and passing, but Ferdig makes up for it on the boards, corralling almost 9 a game. However, even with the advantage on the board, is anyone really a match for the Mountain West Player of the Year in Hofschild? I guess we'll just have to wait and see as these 2 face off in a matter of moments at 7:30 Pacific time, so that's 8:30 Mountain time. Make sure to stay tuned to all of CTV's socials for the results.
And okay, now pivoting over to the men's side, CSU and Fresno State tip off the festivities tomorrow at noon local time. The Rams are the 8th seed while the Bulldogs are the 9. Close, yes, but CSU did sweep Fresno in the regular season. Mike and Leah, what should we be expecting heading into round 3?
Well, Ella, you said it best. These teams are really looking close when it comes to the standings.
Yeah, Leah, as both of the last games with the Bulldogs both ended in Rams W's, and tomorrow it's looking like it might be the same.
Now, in all honesty, there's not a whole lot of players we need to look out for on Fresno's side, but let's check in with our stars and how they finished the regular season.
John Tonje has been a staple at Colorado State, and I would say he ended his senior campaign on a high note, joining the 1,000-point club in the last game of the regular season. This year, he shot 46% from the field, averaging about 14 points per game, so an efficient and effective year for the senior.
And I mean, Isaiah Stevens will go down as one of the best basketball players in CSU history. He not only holds the most assists in a single game, but broke the all-time assist record with 572 total. That's the first time anyone has touched those kind of numbers since 1994. These two have been such assets to the program, and I mean, personally, I'm really crossing my fingers maybe one of them will take a COVID year, but, you know, one can dream. But anyways, stay tuned and we'll give you all the information. Madeline, Ella, back to you.
All right, Mike Walsh and Leah Kakowski reporting from the Mountain West Tournament in Las Vegas. Thank you both for joining us. We look forward to seeing how it all unfolds. And Madeline, of course, both of us would love to see the unthinkable happen and the men coast all the way to the championship on Saturday, but I think we can both agree that the women's chances are a tiny bit higher.
You know, maybe just a little. Just a little, though, not a lot. Yeah, probably. They got so close last year, losing to UNLV in the finals, and it's very possible that might happen again. Here's a visual for how the semifinals shape up. As we can see, we have UNLV and San Diego State. This is expected to be a bit of a close matchup. While it is a 1 versus a 5 seed, this could really honestly be anybody. And this game is going on right now, and it's a close one. It's currently halftime 33 to get this, 33. Right now, it has SDSU as a 54% field goal percentage versus UNLV's 40. I mean, you do 54%, that's really, really good. But you do expect maybe UNLV to at least maintain where they are and SDSU to drop down a bit, or for UNLV to kind of match San Diego State's shooting. So that's going to be a really, really close one. So as soon as the show is over, definitely tune into that game if it's still going on, because this is quite the matchup. And I mean, UNLV, they have 8 offensive rebounds. That's wild. It's going to be a close one. We'll just have to wait and see. And then it's Wyoming versus CSU, Border War Part 3. As you heard from Mike and Leah, both took it on the home court. We saw it was very, very close in Fort Collins. It came down to a Kylan Crocker 3 to win it. Wyoming was very dominant in their game, but to be honest, CSU played pretty poorly. This one, it could really go either way. We're all hoping it's going for the Rams, but every time these teams play each other, it's close, so we'll have to see what happens. I mean, you know, we all want UNLV versus CSU in the finals. Actually, I think we want San Diego State versus CSU, let's be real here. But what is expected is UNLV versus CSU in the finals, so we'll see. So yeah, regardless, I'm more anxious about the nightcap between CSU and Wyoming. Granted, I hope we don't experience deja vu with the Lady Rebels in the championships, but first things first, beat the Cowgirls, and then we can see what tomorrow brings. And with that, Rams, we'll take a break.
But when we come back, it's on to the men. Can the green and gold muster any magic despite a down year? Hear more about what stands in the way of a miraculous run back to the big dance.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy.
Ugh, my bad.
Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Brandon Kruse. Now, as we mentioned at the top, the Mountain West men's tournament commences tomorrow with the A9 matchup between CSU and Fresno State. You should know that by now, right? Okay, good. Well, here's how the rest of the field stacks up. We're going to go through it real quick. We have Colorado State and Fresno State, as we mentioned at the top. The winner of that will play the number 1 seed in San Diego State. That's going to be a hefty matchup right there if CSU advances. We have UNLV and Air Force as a 7-10. We have New Mexico and Wyoming. Take a look at Ella's analysis for Wyoming later in the show. So then we had the winner plays San Diego State for that one. We have UNLV, Air Force. The winner plays Boise State at the 2 seed. Utah State is the 3, and then the 4-5 matchup, Nevada and San Jose State. Now, we should specifically note the top 4 seeds. Ella, tell us about them.
Well, Brandon, right now there are several schools vying for an NCAA tournament bid, and it's those 4: San Diego State, Boise State, Nevada, and Utah State. The Aztecs and Broncos are comfortably in at this point, while the Wolfpack and Aggies are sitting on that bubble. So with that, it's time for the 3 of us to break down the brackets. Who will cut down the nets in Vegas? Will Boise State repeat? We'll give you our thoughts. And Madeline, why don't you start us off?
Well, Ella, it'll be an interesting tournament for sure, mainly because there's no super dominant club. San Diego State won the regular season title, but anything can happen from now on. And you noted them already, but Boise State is my team to watch out for. When it comes to Mountain West basketball, to be honest, Boise is probably my favorite team to watch after the Rams, and that's just because I'm a bit partial here as a CSU student. I just think they're exciting. I mean, when you look at their players, Max Rice, 14.4 points per game, Tyson Degenhart, 14.3, Marcus Shaver Jr. is not far behind with 13.3. I mean, they can just do it all. Here, I mean, look at this play right here. Tyson Degenhart, he's going to hit a 3. He's like 6'7". He can also go in the paint. I mean, how many forwards do you know that shoot the 3 like that? Here, Marcus Shaver Jr., he's small, but he can get anywhere, and he is mighty along the boards. They're just a really exciting and fun team, and honestly, as you can see, I have them winning it all. But before I get there, let's break down the rest of this bracket. As you can see, we got that first matchup, CSU versus Fresno State. They are kicking it off tomorrow at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and this one is going to be close. Am I necessarily confident in CSU's ability to take this one? No, not really, but I do have them pulling it out because they did beat Fresno twice. The second time was won by John Donjay free throws, but you only have to win by 1, so it doesn't matter how you get there. I do think that CSU can definitely pull it out, though, as long as they stay confident and they play like they want to win and they play like they're playing in Moby, because as you saw the last time they were on the road against San Jose State, they played so bad. But then they beat New Mexico and Moby, and no one expected that, so we'll see. Then we have UNLV versus Air Force. I mean, this one's pretty easy. I'm taking UNLV. Air Force is not the best team this year. Let's be real, when are they the best team? Not often. And UNLV gets a home court advantage every single time. Why the Mountain West Tournament is played at the Thomas and Mack Center, I don't know. It feels unfair, but UNLV. Then we have New Mexico and Wyoming. This one could honestly be a bit of a matchup. These two teams, they split the regular season. New Mexico won at home. It was a very close game, though. It was at the beginning of the season, right about when New Mexico was still pretty strong. They weren't too vulnerable yet. And then Wyoming did beat them at home just a couple weeks ago. That's really what gave me the shining view into the fact that I thought that maybe the Rams could take New Mexico too, was the fact that Wyoming beat them. But I do have New Mexico taking it out. I think that they're going to be disappointed after coming off a loss to CSU, a team that they realistically probably should have beat. And Wyoming, while they are playing much better, they're still like 8-20. You can only go so far. Then we get into the second round matchups, CSU versus San Diego State. I'll come back to that one because there's not even really much to talk about there. So let's start with some more exciting ones. We're going to go back down to New Mexico. New Mexico versus Utah State. Fun fact, Utah State is the second highest net ranked team in the Mountain West. They are looking pretty close to a tournament bid. They've been a very, very strong team. And New Mexico and Utah State only met once in the season, and it was in Logan. Utah State took that one. And I do agree and think that they will take it again. Then we have Nevada and San Jose State. San Jose State, honestly, a bit of a sleeper team. I think that they could pull it out against Nevada, but Nevada has been very, very strong this year and is very close to being potentially last four in. So I do think it will be Nevada. Then Boise State versus UNLV. As you saw, I'm a secret Boise State fan. I think Boise's going to take it easily. They've crushed basically all of their Mountain West opponents this year. Then we come down to the semifinals. We've got Boise State versus Utah State. This one could be an interesting matchup, but Boise did kind of obliterate Utah State twice in the season. So I think that this one, once again, going to go to Boise. And then San Diego State versus Nevada, once again, could be interesting. But San Diego State, they are just strong. They are a strong team. Solid. Then for the finals, we have SDSU versus Boise State. This one, I think a lot of people are banking on San Diego State, but I think we're going to get a repeat of last year. I think it's going to be SDSU, Boise State in the final. I think Boise's going to take it. Boise just beat San Diego State when they were ranked. It was at Extra Mile Arena. It was in Boise, but that is okay. That was Boise's first win over a ranked opponent since 2015. They're on the up. I mean, San Diego State is strong, but I believe in my Broncos here. And okay, those are my selections. I at least think they're pretty good. Brandon, Ella, what's your analysis over there?
Well, Madeline, Boise State is a solid team to put your money on, but you had me intrigued until your very last point because, yes, give me San Diego State all day. Ella, did you see this play, by the way?
Only everywhere.
Last shot, Lamont Butler, bang. Winner for San Diego State on the road at New Mexico. Crushed those Lobos fans. And then we get to this one. I mean, look at this. Butler again. Slam! My goodness. He's a beast out there. And then, I hate to show this one. I mean, CSU just couldn't fathom the ability for San Diego State to put pressure on them. Aztecs love to commit turnovers or love to force turnovers. And, of course, they did win the Mountain West regular season. Okay, so now let's get to my tournament picks. And Madeline likes to go in depth with them. I'm straight to the point.
Brief, bold,
yeah.
get it
So
done.
I like CSU against Fresno State. It is hard to beat the same team 3 times. I do think CSU will do that against Fresno. We'll move down to UNLV Air Force. Madeline made a lot of good points about that one. UNLV is playing at their home arena, even though it is technically a neutral site. Air Force, not a great season. I'm going to take UNLV to advance against Boise. And then New Mexico, Wyoming. We have a bit of disagreement here, but New Mexico is my sleeper team. They were 14-0 to start the season. They did beat St. Mary's, which is a quality tournament team, but they have gone 8-10 in conference. So they've been struggling, but I trust them more than Wyoming, so give me New Mexico. We're going to advance to the quarterfinals now. Now, we can live in this fantasy world where, like, CSU is going to take the liquid luck from Harry Potter, and then they're going to ride around on brooms in the arena to avoid the physicality and strength of San Diego State. That's not going to happen. Give me San Diego State over CSU to advance to the semifinals. Nevada, San Jose State. Now, I desperately wanted to pick San Jose State in this one, Ella.
Nevada's too consistent.
But Nevada beat San Jose State twice, one by 15, one by 27. Let me do the math real quick. That's 42 points. 42. My goodness. Yeah, give me Nevada in that one easily. Boise State, UNLV. I do also like Boise State like Madeline, so give me Boise State in that one. Utah State, New Mexico. There's my upset. New Mexico advances to the semifinals, crushing Utah State's chances of a tournament run. It happens to the best of us Aggies. It's okay. So now we get to the semifinals. I do like San Diego State over Nevada. San Diego State is just so dominant. They're so strong. They're so lengthy. They just overwhelm you.
Yeah.
So give me San Diego State. And I do think this is where New Mexico's run ends. Give me Boise State. And then I like San Diego State in the finals. All right, those are mine. We're going all chalk with the Aztecs. I mean, can you blame me? Ella, give me what you have.
Well, I must say, the team I'm about to highlight will be a shocker to many. Why? Maybe because focus isn't on the 1 or the 2 seed. Instead, we're dropping all the way to the bottom.
Oh my gosh.
Wyoming started the season off horrible. Some could argue they ended their season horrible, but listen, an 11 seed is not an appropriate number for this team that can upset almost anybody on this board. Let me tell you why. Behind that arch They are number 2 in the Mountain West. If a team is up against them and they fail to pull out the best of their defense, they are going to get absolutely obliterated by their threes. Hunter Maldonado, I feel like I've been talking about him for years, putting up 15 averaged a game. I mean, if he's on, he's on. So sometimes it's the unpredictable that become the storyline, and that's what I envision at least in the first round. Let's take a look at the rest of my picks, which aren't as crazy as you guys may think. Colorado State, Fresno, I'll agree with you. Give me the Rams for that one. I think they'll be able to take Fresno. Honestly, a 9 seed is bold for them. That's just I don't think they're 9 seed material, but that's just me. UNLV, Air Force, even if UNLV didn't have that home field advantage, I think they could still pull it out. Put it in the Springs, and I still think UNLV is the better team.
Yeah.
So I have UNLV going up against Boise second round. New Mexico, Wyoming, this is where we're all a little different. Wyoming is going to come on top. They just are. They beat New Mexico just a couple weeks ago by 14 points. That's not just a couple mistakes. That's not just a turnover or free throws at the end of the game. That's a heavy, heavy win, and I think they can do it again.
That was at New Mexico.
Yeah. No, I think it was in Wyoming. Regardless.
Oh, it was.
Regardless.
Yeah.
San Diego State's going to come on top of Colorado. No question there. Nevada, consistent, strong, just a better team than San Jose State. Not to say that San Jose State is bad. They deserve that bye. They deserve that number 5 seed. But Nevada has this one. Boise, UNLV. Boise is not my favorite team in the whole world in terms of consistency. I think they can be a little bit rocky, but I think they're better than UNLV. I have them moving on to the last 4. Utah State, Wyoming. Wyoming, they can only go so far with a little bit of luck. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have Utah State, the 3 seed, moving on. So my final 4 looking pretty similar to Brandon's minus Wyoming or Utah State. San Diego State, have them beating Nevada. Nevada, like you guys were mentioning, great team. Deserve to go far in this tournament. Not good enough for the final 2. Boise State, Utah State. This is where it also looks a little bit different. I have Utah State coming on top of Boise. Why? For funsies. I think that's going to be my upset of the tournament. And when it happens, we'll run this show back. We'll see that I said it, and, we'll all celebrate that I was right. Okay, San Diego State, Utah State. I'll give you SDSU, Brandon. Yes. I think they're going to come out with it. They're the favorite. They're kind of the obvious pick, and I think it's deserved.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how Madeline feels about your Wyoming love. Is that right, Madeline?
If I'm going to be totally honest, I think Wyoming is the most disappointing team in college basketball.
No, that's true.
If you asked me before the season, I legitimately thought they were going to be better than San Diego State. They had Graham Ike, they had Hunter Maldonado back, they had 3 USC transfers. Now they're without Graham Ike and any of the transfers. They all left.
Hey, Jeremiah Odin.
I think they've kind of given up, in my opinion. But
It will be interesting to see how it unfolds. Wyoming definitely has had a rough season, but playing a little bit better. Like you mentioned, they did beat New Mexico and Nevada. Yeah. They did beat us the first time they played us.
I mean, Madeline, it's like baseball. Doesn't matter how you start the season. Doesn't matter how you are in the middle of the season. If you end strong, you get into that postseason, and you're on fire, you can take out every single team. New Mexico, 14-0 start. Big deal. Big deal. Okay, they've been 8-10 in the last 18 games. I think Wyoming has this one, regardless of whether I like them or not. Yeah. Regardless.
Can't deny that. That's how the Rockies made the World Series.
Exactly.
And after all of that, Rams, my friends and I need a break. But it's not the end quite yet, because there are so many tournaments this week. Man, I love college basketball. It's Pick'em up next on CTV Sports. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Welcome back from the break, Rams. Now, personally, this is the most wonderful time of the year in the Kruse household. We gather around the TV like it's the Christmas tree on Selection Sunday and eagerly await the release of the bracket. Then minutes after, we pick our own bracket, only to be drowned in our sorrows that Thursday. Yes, that's unfortunately how it goes every year. Nonetheless, we haven't reached that period quite yet because it's conference tournament week. We have 6 winners to choose from, so let's get into it. First up, guys, we have the ACC. Ella, we'll start with you.
I have Duke coming out on top on this one, not because they're the most experienced team in the standings for this one, not because they're on top, simply just because I think Duke's program knows how to run a tournament. I mean, we see it every single year. They're strong, they're consistent, they're big. They know how to play basketball, and I just think with the competition that they're up against, UVA, I like them, but I don't love them.
Okay.
I trust Duke over UVA just in high pressure circumstances, and that's why I had to take them.
Madeline?
Go Who's. Wahoo wah, what can I say? I'm going with UVA. You know, not only do I have ties to Virginia, ties to the school, I have relatives who went there. I also just think they're good, but I also think this whole conference is a bit of a crapshoot. I think anybody could win. I think it could be UVA. I think it could be Duke. I think it could be Clemson. I think it could be Miami. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Pitt could pull it out. Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech wasn't supposed to win last year, and they did. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be interesting because the ACC is the hardest, in my opinion, the hardest tournament to pick in different reasons other than the Big 12.
Yeah.
I also like Virginia. I agree with Madeline mainly because of their experience. Ella, I don't trust the inexperience with the freshman group at Duke, so I'm gonna take Virginia in this one. And the odds, actually, they do like Duke at plus 290. 290.
I like Duke. The professionals like Duke. That's just how it goes.
That's kind of surprising. And okay, the strength in conferences dramatically increases now as we move to our second conference, the Big 12. I'm going to go first. I think Kansas is very good. They have 15 quad 1 wins, but the team they might play in the semifinals, give me Baylor to win it. I like Baylor in the Big 12.
I like Kansas. They didn't disappoint me last year. They're not going to disappoint me this year. This is just an insane conference. Average net 25. Yeah. Average.
Kansas is a wild card. I'm going to say horns up on this one. Texas is going to take it.
Texas?
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of good teams in Big 12.
Yeah, we're all split on this one.
Yeah. The odds like Kansas at plus 275. Next up is a league that honestly kind of goes unnoticed by some. Granted, it is a basketball conference. I mean, have you ever seen a Villanova football game? If not, you're not alone. That said, our next conference is indeed the Big East. Ella, who do you like?
I don't really like anyone. I'm not super passionate about this conference, but if I had to pick someone, I think Marquette's going to come out on top.
Marquette's very good. I like UConn. I like UConn a lot. They were very good at the beginning of the year, kind of hit a rough streak during conference play, but I like UConn.
They hit their peak. Move on.
UConn was good. I am going to go with Marquette. They're number 6 in the AP polls. To me, it's between Marquette and Creighton.
Okay, yeah, Creighton's good too. I think they could make a serious run at the Final Four,
even
though they're a lower seed.
Who are the odds for this one, Brandon?
UConn plus 200 for my Huskies. Okay, and now probably the least controversial of our picks tonight, the Big Ten. Now, Madeline, I know you wanted to pay tribute to a special staff member who joined us earlier in the show. Is that right?
This one's for you, Mike. If you're watching, Purdue.
I do not have a special tribute for this one, but I also said Purdue.
Purdue.
They're going to win it. So.
Yeah,
this one's easy.
I love Purdue, but get this, guys. Only plus 120 for the Boilermakers for the odds, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, kind of a wild conference.
And now we're going to go quickly with the Pac-12. I think that Arizona and UCLA are the main ones to keep an eye on. I like UCLA.
I do too. I kind of think it's a toss-up between those two teams, but, had to pick one. I'm going to go with UCLA.
They're on a 10-game win streak.
Yeah.
UCLA. It's hard to beat that.
UCLA is plus 110. And guess what, guys? Last one is the SEC, but we all are rolling Tide on this one, right?
Roll Tide!
Apparently.
Alabama, 1 seed potentially, so that'll be a really cool.
What are they at right now? 4?
They're a 1 seed overall,
Right.
or yeah, they're going to be a 1 seed in the tournament.
right.
Texas A&M's a 2 seed in the SEC, by the way. And well, Rams, that's all the sports action we have for you tonight. But stop what you're doing right now. Before you depart, I need to make an announcement. Ramboozled is tomorrow. Yes, our fabulous game show hosted by the wonderful Adam Carlson. So be sure to tune into CTV tomorrow night for some more fun. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and have a great night.